Welcome back to the BraveCo Podcast, men. Hey, before we get started, I want to ask you one quick question. Do you have a really clear plan to build a strong, capable, powerful leader that God's called you to be? If you don't, we have the course for you. It's our BraveCo Foundations of Masculinity and our Sexuality and Relationship course. These are free courses that we've created that you can literally go and sign up today. The best part of these is you get access to our community, right? So you can go, and if you want to run with other men who are crushing it in life, there's tons of guys there that you can jump into a course with, or we even have conferences and events that we do all year long that you can check out. But listen, I want you to go back and think about this. If you don't have a clear plan, if you don't have other guys that you're running with, if you don't have a clear pathway to how do I grow myself as a man? How do I step into my calling? What is my code, my ethos? What does it mean? How do I set healthy boundaries? How do I show up for my wife? How do I do emotion-based communication that creates deep connection in my family, in my marriage? Guys, we lay it out so simply for you. And honestly, I've seen so many men go through this and get complete healing on the other side. So we want to give that to you for free. You can go to braveco.org and sign up today. Welcome back, men, to the BraveCo Podcast. I am excited to be here with you this week. This week, it's just me, and I wanted to talk about something that I think is one of the most important things in your life today, especially if you're a married man, is becoming the anchor. Several years ago, 2 years ago, my mother-in-law was dying of cancer. And I've shared about it a bit on this podcast, but not from this perspective. My mother-in-law was battling cancer for right around 2 years. And man, it's just such a devastating fight to go through, feeling so powerless. They live in South Carolina and we live in Redding, California. So they're literally like worlds apart. And we had gone to South Carolina just to visit her. And I think in July, I think middle of July, we had gone there, just to spend some time with her. And when we arrived, it was really clear that my mother-in-law was going downhill fast, that the 2-year-long battle that she was fighting was going to come to an end shortly. And of course, my wife and I started to have to make some really tough decisions. We have littles that are at home with us, and so they were with us. At that time, my 1-year-old and my 3-year-old. Um, living, and so we're all just kind of living in my mother-in-law's house, and we didn't know how long we were going to be there for, or what the future held. And so it was just such a tough time, right? Because my wife is in the middle of grieving her mom dying. She's also trying to be really present for her mom, because knowing like this is the end of her life. This is the last stages of her life. And also we have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So they don't understand really fully what's happening with mom. And we're in a new city, and I still have BraveCo that I have to take care of. I'm on the senior leadership team here at Bethel Church, and I have responsibilities. I have other kids that are here in Redding. And it was just, honestly, it was like being in the middle of a storm. I found myself going, oh my gosh, I can't change the fact that my mother-in-law is dying. This is my wife's like greatest fear, deepest, darkest storm ever. My kids are in a new environment. They're really struggling. And I can't leave my young kids and just focus on helping my wife, or I can't, it's just like this crazy scenario. It's just this hard scenario to go through. And, when I, that lasted for about 5 weeks. I did that in South Carolina for 5 weeks with my mother-in-law passing away. And I finally told Lauren, like, hey, I need to bring the kids home. We both decided that that was the best thing to do. At one point, mom wasn't really eating or drinking anymore, so we knew it wouldn't be a very long time. And, and so I took the kids home, and Lauren's mom passed, I think 4 or 5 days later. And when that happened, everything shifted in our life. You know, she went from having a best friend that she talked to every single day. Lauren and her mom are best friends. They would talk when she was cooking dinner. They would talk when she was struggling with the kids. They would talk when she was getting ready for work. That was their type of relationship. And now, her mom's grieving. Our daughter, I've told you guys this before, but our daughter was really struggling with a bunch of sensory things in her life. And so she was having so many challenges and difficulties just getting dressed in the morning and being put down to bed at night. And it was just wild. I don't know if you guys have felt like this before, but um, I just felt like I am in the middle of the biggest battle, one of the biggest battles I have ever been there and I've ever been through. And I started to realize really quickly, I can't solve all this. There's no point in me solving it. I can't. This storm's gonna go on for a while, which is a really powerless feeling. It's so challenging, but it's really relatable because that's where a lot of people are. You may be in the middle of a storm. It's a financial storm. You may be in the middle of a relational storm. You may be in the middle of a spiritual storm. I've been through all of those before. And you may be in the middle of a storm in your marriage. And one of the most important things in life is to learn how to be the anchor in a storm. Because your role as a man is to bring peace to chaos. That is one of the roles as a man. And so I often think that if you're not careful, you'll get into the midst of a storm and you'll look at all the other members of your family to be the peace in the storm. And the truth is that us men are supposed to be able to come in to a storm, not solve it, not make it go away, but really learn how to be the anchor in the crazy waves. And a couple things that was really helpful for me, and I just want to give some tips to for you men, is you have to adjust your priorities. When you notice that you are in the middle of a storm, that your family is, that your wife is, you have to start to look around and go, what is actually my top priority? If you have kids that are at home and your marriage isn't doing amazing and your kids are really struggling, no longer is work your first priority, unless that's a bigger storm, unless you're going bankrupt. But if you're not going bankrupt, your work is no longer your biggest priority. Your family is your biggest priority, and your wife is your biggest priority. So what should you do? Well, you should start to shift your priorities from maybe don't take on that extra project at work. Maybe this isn't the season to try and, ramp up and reach some higher financial goals. And I see men do this a lot, a lot, a lot. And you have to actually check yourself and go like, no, this is the area that you feel really powerful in. And so you want to double down on it. If I get more money, I'll feel more successful and somehow it will solve this problem, but it doesn't. What being the anchor is actually being present. It's being really present. It's being able to show up in a time of need and to be steady, that steady place for your family to come and to cling to. And And so, my wife's grief was so unpredictable. My daughter's dysregulation was so unpredictable. I had to become a man of incredible consistency, of deep dependency. My wife needed to have so much more access to me than in the past seasons of our life. So now, because I'm shifting my priorities, I'm letting my workplace know, I'm letting my world around me know, like, "Hey, my wife's in the middle of grieving. I might have to step out of this meeting." Or, "Hey, I actually can't stay, late," or, "I can't travel." I canceled all my traveling trips, um, for almost 2 years. During that season, Lauren and I had to back out of some, marriage, um conferences that we had said yes to, literally because, again, our whole world was chaotic. She was in mourning, she's suffering, our kids were having a really hard time. And so the first thing to becoming the anchor is to really get the mindset that I'm not gonna solve all this stuff. I'm gonna be present. That's my job. Now I have to go in and reset some priorities. I have to make sure that I'm prioritizing the right things in my life. So showing up and being present for my wife's phone call, amazing. Showing up and being there to answer a text back was big. Um, Being able to leave work on time, or so I even adjusted my schedule. Honestly, I was coming into work at 9:30, so I could stay home and help get the day going, get the kids going, and get to, and work was secondary. Luckily, I have a job in which I could do a lot of that stuff. But to me, it's about being steady. It's about being consistent. It's about being present. It's about being safe and not reactive. And I think a lot of men struggle because they don't realize that being the anchor looks like being consistent. It looks like going from being impulse driven to now I'm pushing aside what I want and I'm thinking about the whole. And there's no magic to it, man. But you just have to start thinking through like, I have to look at where do I want my marriage and my family and my life to be in a year? If I'm going to be the anchor in my family, where do I want us to be in a year? Right. So I'm starting to look at that. I'm starting to forecast that. Okay. What's it going to take for me to get from here to here? You may be in the middle of a financial storm. And because you're in the middle of a financial storm, honestly, 3 years ago, I had $1,000 in the bank account and we were really struggling. So what did I do? I started to reprioritize. Instead of having Friday as my day off, I started to add some counseling appointments in there. I worked later hours. My wife and I um, changed the expectation. So I'm going to work some later hours. I'm only going to have 1 day off a week instead of two. I'm going to, right? Like everybody has to flex in order for me. But this is what we decided as a team would be the best thing for us to ride out the storm and bring back some stability. It's all about being able to reprioritize where we're putting our focus, our effort, our energy, doing it with really clear communication and being a team in it. And one of the most important things that a home can have, I've said this before, is a home needs to have a place of emotional safety. You need to be able to walk into your home. Your kids need to be able to come home and feel safe emotionally. Your ability as a man to create that culture, that environment where your family feels safe, seen, and known, where there's not a unpredictable environment. Am I going to walk in and then is your wife going to walk in and you're going to be dysregulated emotionally? It's fine to have emotions. It's not fine to not manage those well. But when you create a bunch of predictability and a bunch of safety in there, all of a sudden you create an environment, a culture in which people can take off their armor, where they can rest. And that becomes a very flexible environment. It becomes a very safe environment. And you can weather financial storms. You can weather the loss in a family. You can weather uh, uh, um, your marriage needing to grow because it's not as strong as you want it to be in a place where there is emotional safety. And so to me, it looks like learning how to do uh, connection-based communication. It looks like managing your triggers. Again, it looks like delaying gratification and going, where am I trying to get a year from now? And to create a bunch of priorities around that. And so, one of the best things that you can do, man, if you're really focusing and you're going, I need to be the anchor in my home. The question right now is, are you the anchor in your home? And what do you need to shift in order to be? And you just start to go, what's a small thing? What's one small thing I can do every single day? What's one small thing? Make your bed, wake up on time, um, partner with somebody and work out, set clear expectations and clear priorities. Literally sit down, open up your journal and go, what is my priority for this year? Great. Now, what are my priorities for this next month? And what is my priority for this next week? How am I going to get from here all the way to where I really need to be? But you have to start with that end in mind. I really wanted my wife to be able to have a place where she was free to mourn, where she was free to grieve. I wanted to feel, I wanted her to be able to feel present with me. I needed a place where I could take on the bulk of the challenges with my daughter Edie. And because my wife was in such a turbulent place, by resetting and changing the priorities in my life, I was able to actually set more time aside to help. And as Lauren got more capacity, as she mourned through her mom, as Edie spent more time in counseling and therapy, we slowly started to move out of that storm. And I remember probably 2 months ago, I told Lauren, like, hey, listen, I'm starting to ramp up. Now that we're out of this storm, I need to shift priority. It's not that I'm not still present for you, but I need to take that extra time and energy that I was spending at home in the mornings or in the afternoons coming home from work early. And I need to really focus on BraveCo and double down. By creating that expectation, right? I'm I'm setting her up for success. And I remember her telling me, like, that's awesome. I feel so good about that. And she feels great about that because I, for a whole season, focused on her and the kids and just kept my other things alive. And now I get her full backing. I get her, because I did a great job at caring for her and that storm. Now she's able to lend her support and her strength in the middle of this other target that we have. But the thing that I feel like the most is, guys, you need a really simple, clear target all the time. You have to have a clear target. I think it's one of the biggest mistakes that counselors make when they're working one-on-one with people or working with married couples is they give like 9 different targets. You need to learn clear communication. You need to set healthy boundaries. You got to work through this pain. You got to do this thing. And the truth is that if you knew how to hit those targets, you would have already done it. You have to do a really clear target for like a week. So this week, if you're like, man, uh, there needs to be a shift in my life. I have a storm. What is the clear target for this week? It may simply be, I need to go talk to my boss and let him know that I'm in the middle of a storm in my marriage. And I need to, whatever, I need to be able to take some time off just to go to counseling once a week. I need to take an hour off a week to go to counseling. Cool. Or, man, I'm running my business and we're doing incredible, but my family's struggling. I need to have an employee that can do the morning shift so I can like get some more time here. Awesome. Just what is that one thing that you're going to focus on this week that helps to set yourself up for success and create that safety, that sense of you being an anchor, that stability inside of your home, inside of yourself, inside of your marriage. If you'll do that, then you'll start to create this place, right, where you have the right priorities, you have the right mission, you're on the right track, and you know what you're supposed to be doing each week. When you don't know what to do each week, your next step is to pull somebody in who could help you, right? So if you're in a tough marriage season and you're like, if you're in a tough marriage season and I was to ask you right now, what is your clear target and how are you supposed to hit that? If you didn't know, if you didn't know, like, this is the most effective target I could hit this week, you need to get somebody in your corner to help you. If you're working on a business and you're like, I don't know what my clear target is this week, you need to bring somebody in that can go, listen, Jay, or listen, Mike, or listen, Bill, this is your clear target for this week. Hit this target this week, and then this is the next one this next week. If you'll do that, man, you'll start to get out of chaos and be a place of real strength for yourself, for your family, for your businesses, for the relationships that are in your life. So, guys, we all want to be that place of strength. We all want to be able to bring peace to chaos. It's really about reprioritizing your life, making some powerful decisions, and showing up consistently. Guys, I hope this week's episode has helped you. If it has, please share it with somebody else. Otherwise, have an incredible week. Stay brave out there.
Hey, BraveCo men. Hopefully you loved this week's episode. Listen, if you have not subscribed to our podcast, you are already behind. Go ahead and click right here to subscribe to our podcast. And if you have not watched last week's episode, you can click right here and watch last week's episode. And listen, if you want to upgrade your wardrobe, you can check out some of our new hats that we have in stock and all our other swag. Go to braveco.org and you can look at our store there. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.